A royal commentator believes Buckingham Palace has been trying to distance themselves from the idea it was King Charles' decision to hold a meeting with Ms von der Leyen later today. Royal correspondent Cameron Walker recounted the tricky few days experienced by His Majesty and Buckingham Palace since it emerged a possible meeting between Charles and the President of the European Commission was ever on the table. Appearing on GB News, he said, "It's very interesting that you mentioned Downing Street's statement, or remarks, saying that it was very much up to the palace and the king whether or not to meet Ursula von der Leyen. However, I'm getting a sense from Buckingham Palace that they're trying to distance themselves from the idea that it was their decision or indeed the King's decision to meet the European Commission President this afternoon, because the statement from the Buckingham Palace's spokesperson reads, "The King is pleased to meet any world leader if they are visiting Britain and it is on government advice that he should do so." Mr. Walker described the mention of the government advice in the palace statement as crucial words. He continued, "So in other words, it was Downing Street's idea that this meeting was going to happen. Now from my understanding, the meeting is going to be a broad range, is going to be lots of topics discussed, notably climate change and the war in Ukraine. But clearly there is a big elephant in the room here, the new Northern Ireland Brexit agreement, which the Prime Minister is discussing with von der Leyen at the moment." This comes after a weekend of speculation surrounding a possible audience between the President of the European Commission and the monarch, as Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is trying to strike a deal on the Northern Ireland Protocol that would end a row with the European Union which has lasted since Theresa May's days in Downing Street. A report emerged on Saturday claimed there had been plans for an in-person meeting between the King and Ms von der Leyen but had been cancelled days before the announcement of an expected deal. As noted by Mr. Walker, this meeting had been dubbed Windsor Agreement by government sources, a nickname giving it a bit of a royal gloss, he said. The report sparked the ire of a number of politicians, who argued Mr. Sunak was dragging His Majesty on the political territory. Sammy Wilson, the Brexit spokesperson for the DUP, said any consideration of involving the King would be a cynical use, or abuse of the monarch. A similar meeting, Lady Kate Hoey, the former Labour MP and Northern Irish Brexit supporter said at the time, would be outrageous. Conservative Eurosceptic and former Business Secretary Jacob Rees-Mogg told The Times the audience with the sovereign was on the borderline of constitutional propriety. Government sources hit out at claims Mr. Sunak intended to use King Charles, whose position must remain above the political fray, to endorse his much-anticipated deal that could end the row with the EU over the Northern Ireland Protocol. A source told PA on the weekend, "It would be wrong to suggest the King would be involved in anything remotely political." Earlier today, however, Downing Street and Buckingham Palace confirmed Ms von der Leyen, who has travelled to England for talks with the Prime Minister, would also head to Windsor Castle to meet the monarch. Speaking about today's meeting, a spokesman for Rishi Sunak said, in stark contrast with the palace's statement, he firmly believes it's for the King to make those decisions. "It's not uncommon for His Majesty to accept invitations to meet certain leaders. He has met President Duda and President Zelensky recently. He is meeting with the President of the EU today." When asked why the final talks over the protocol were taking place in Windsor, the spokesman added, "There are a number of occasions when these sorts of talks have been held in significant occasions, this is no different. No suggestion was ever made the King would be involved in any way in the discussions surrounding the Northern Ireland Protocol." Mr. Walker noted the risk of Charles meeting Ms. von der Leyen today lies in the fact he could be seen to be endorsing, if not blessing, the potential New Deal, which currently doesn't seem to be universally
got to be some summer sad who's in our hearts ready to come home and fall in love. I have been trying to find a way over you to us.